Long before Banban's kindergarten was founded, there was a smaller kindergarten that we refer to as the Old Kindergarten. The Old Kindergarten has six mascots: Tamataki and Chamataki, Bittigiggle, Zolphius, Syringian, Kittysaurus, and Sir Dadadoo. The Old Kindergarten was running smoothly until some unknown accident occurred, which caused it to shut down, killing the people inside, or so they thought. One of the children that died was a child named Josh. The parents of Josh, who was one of the kids who died in the old kindergarten fire, powered by grief, they began searching for ways to bring their child back from the dead. So the two parents start a new kindergarten on top of the decaying remains of the old kindergarten. They started as a front for their illegal science experiments. They have the main goal of bringing a child back to life. They began hiring scientists and employees, not telling them the true goal of the experiments. Dr. Uthman Adam was hired by Batman's kindergarten to be the head of creating the living mascots. They first tested mammalian blood circulatory systems in case 2 to 6, where they were left with no results. The first available case update reports was created on Javania and was the second update is available where the document says that the first Javanium infused the mascots, moving arm like its artificial nervous system had worked for a split second, which shows their first bit of progress in creating life. Syringium was created to help with the dangerous surgical procedures needed to bring cases to life, but due to Syringium having no of the lowest KAS scores, they began looking for potion replacement concepts and deemed him permanently not ready for presentation. The main mascot, Banban, was one of the first mascots to be created, referred to as K6. The workers of Banban's kindergarten transferred his circulatory system to Javania instead of the much less capable mammalian systems. K6 coming to life, resulting in him following the behavior of other cases who had human genome donors, which is them remembering many memories that belong to the original human genome donor. In this case, the memories of Uthman Adam as he was the donor, due to the human genome existing within case 6. He has been observed eating and drinking despite him not needed to. Strangely, like all the previous cases that are alive, he described a constant pain inside of him that cannot be completely explained. K6 is capable of many other things such as fluent speech, high intelligence similar to his donor, and because of his primary gene being human, he is docile and cooperative, yet incredibly confused by his lab experiment status. Banban sees himself as a human, specifically as Uthman Adam, who is Banban's human genome donor. This explains of why his real name is Uthman Adam. He describes an immense feeling of pain inside of his stomach for the first time, and the kindergarten also planning a meeting between Uthman and Banban. The meeting between Adam and Banban takes place. During the meeting, Banban first treated Uthman like any other stranger they met by shaking hands, even though Batman thinks he is still Uthman Adam. Uthman then began explaining that they were the original genome donor for Banban. Uthman then tried to start explaining some of the science behind Javarian procedures, but while he was talking, Banban suddenly became extremely angry. and tried to attack the doctor, but he was stopped by security. Adam suffered minor injuries and Banban was placed in a solitary confinement. Banban goes insane while sitting in the corner, repeating the words Javanium, Pancreas, Wesley, and Uthman. Banban repeatedly asks to meet with Dr. Wesley Mason. All of his attempts are denied. This urge could be due to his human genome donors unknown relation with Dr. Wesley Mason. Batman thinks he is still Uthman Adam. Bambalina is created to help with the Batman situation. Originally, Bambalina acted identical to Batman prior to his introduction to Uthman, and because of that situation with Batman, Bambalina would not be her human genome donor. Bambalina was placed into Batman's room, where he was crying in the corner. Bambalina is asked to walk closer. Bam, who starts looking up at her. He then rushes at her, hugging her. Then he goes back to the corner. Bambalina is instructed to leave the room. Bambalina and Batman hug because Bambalina is Wesley Mason's human genome donor. After Bambalina met Batman, she became more and more uncooperative every day. Sheriff Toaster is created using the genomes of a human donor and a frog donor. He only acts like a simple toad, hopping and ripping around. In order to solve the Batman problem, Batman is injected with a new Javanium solution that limits his intelligence and other brain activity. But this creates even more problems. At first, it seems like the solution worked, but Batman first begins shaking in extreme pain coming from her stomach, and eventually, the scientists realize what they have done to him, which is initially creating his evil form, known as his hellish form. Stinger Flynn is created and starts to show small amounts of brain activity, much quicker than other cases. Stinger Flynn started to show signs of activity in day 1, while others took multiple weeks. Flynn is injected with enhanced Javanium solution, which makes Flynn start to act with intelligence, including human speech, instead of acting like a simple, mindless jellyfish. But after an auto-Javanium solution is similar to the auto-Javanium solution applied to Sheriff Toaster, he is able to learn to master walk on 2 legs, ditch his natural sleeping cycle, and completely stop mimicking toads for a while. Case 10, Opila Bird was created with the goal of creating a monster that displays motherly love. Case uses the flamingo and the ostrich genome. Opila Bird underwent genetic modifications to give her motherly love. She began being extremely aggressive towards humans, except children, which has to do with Opila Bird's love for her chicks. Opila Bird escaped from containment and saw and heard her children being harmed. This caused her to become extremely angry, and her eyes became bloodshot. The kindergarten informs Uthman that they have lowered the amount of active case from 10 to 6 because they do not have enough money to buy the absurd amounts of Javanium. He was wasting on experiments like Case 12 and all of its sub-cases. This case is a failure because almost all of these monsters never came to life. They also inform him to get ready for Bring a Friend Day. The scientists at the kindergarten are informed that they must abandon the development on cases 4, 9, 14, and 17, aka Syringin, Sheriff Toaster, Queen Celia, and Bitter Giggle. So they decide to dump the four abandoned experiments and level the lower floor. You know, the fifth floor, if you will. In the lower level, they find Sir Dadadu, another abandoned experiment, and the son of Queen Celia. Then they shift all resources dedicated to Syringin to Stinger Flynn due to his much higher levels of intelligence. William Mason writes a letter to Uthman saying that she is sorry that the kindergarten needs to drop some of these cases. She informs Uthman that he needs to keep Zophius a secret and that they should drop Nap Nap, the sheriff, and Slow Celine. Nap Nap was too creepy. Toadster's only purpose was to stop criminals, which there were none, and Slow Celine because of the hyperactive children will like her. She ends the message with a humble cheer up. Queen Celia and Betty Gayle began creating their own cases after Syringin gave them the information on how to. Without Queen Celia's knowledge, Sir Dadadu begins creating a plan to free his evil plan's siblings from his mother's pouch so he can use them to overthrow management and take control of the kindergarten. Shortly after, the plan is created and is expanded is sent down here to the level that reveals that they have been creating sub cases, aka the mutants below. The expeditions also finds out that Sir Dadu is planning a rebellion. The expedition team gives everyone except Sir Dadu the choice of doing their rebellion and destroying everything. They have achieved or not case 18, Sir Dadadu. He was not asked this question due to him being very for the bloody battle a rebellion would bring. Sir Dadadu attempts to launch a rebellion on a kingdom where he frees the naughty ones and tries to use them to overthrow the kindergarten. He begins possessing the minds of cases, but all the other abandoned cases refuse to go along with his plan. Instead, they turn on him and use the power of Queen Balsila's scepter to seal Sir Dadadu and the rest of the naughty ones inside of the Queen's pouch. Mason is a forward of the state of the architecture of the ball pit and understands she and Adam must destroy the kindergarten and leave it behind, taking a likely collapse of the ball pit. As unfortunately, she allows the monsters to escape on Brilliant Friend Day. They respond saying, "You are my savior. My friends and I will soon escape from our prison. There will be chaos. Get out of this place while you still can. And this is your only warning." After doing this, she prepares a plan to flee to Spain with Adam. Adam gets a dreadful note from Mason saying that they have reviewed the ball pit's architecture and found that it's a miracle that it hadn't collapsed yet. It can't support the children that are enrolled in the kindergarten, and they are going to have double that on Bring a Friend Day. She then writes that something very bad is going to happen and they need to get out of here. She then says that she has a plan for tomorrow and that he just needs to get ready and packs his bags for Spain. It was planned that all cases would be bring a friend day, but they were running late and the only cases ready for a presentation was Captain Fiddles and Stinger Flan. All cases ready for presentation were brought to the outer sector to be presented to all children, their friends, the workers, and the company owners. The case acted fine and nice. Uthman and Mason were inside of the facility during the event, but planned to sneak out and board a flight to Madrid, aka Spain. I think they knew that something bad was most likely going to happen with the ball pit, likely to collapse under the extremely large weight of the many children inside of it. Sooner than expected, the ball pit collapsed under the weight, killing the children in the ball pit and setting off a chain reaction that would destroy the facility. Instantly, Sophia's awakened in the abyss. Banban transformed into his evil form, and the animalistic instincts of the rest of the mascots were triggered, causing them to break out of their cells and go on a murderous rampage after the children, the workers, and the parents is also triggered something evil to escape deep on the fourth floor of the kindergarten. One worker left on the floor in the employee training sector has stated on a piece of paper that they had heard screams and cries from above and began to have horrible nightmares such as the marionette, Bouncilia, and Toaster. Also hear the screams from above. Toaster witnessed some of the chaos above and begins to believe his innocence, aka the Banban gang, are now friends which had gone mad, meaning that they are now dirty criminals. Flynn didn't participate in the rampage, but took the time to plan something. He instead took the children and some of the important workers, such as Mason, but it is unknown if Adam was kidnapped as well, or he was murdered. Flynn even saved the children from the other monsters, just so he could kidnap them. We know this from the unknown kid. The same kid saying the nice jellyfish saved us from a big bird and the evil red man. We are going to the jellyfish home. Yeah. This was the beginning of the end of the facility. During Bring a Friend Day, a surgery was taking place in the aquatic sector. The surgery was taking place on Nat Molina's lifeless body. They haven't completed everything except the vein injections, but before they complete the final steps to bring Nat Molina to life, they heard screams from above. Nana begins to break out of his containment, causing the doctors aboard the surgery. They eventually suffer an unknown fate. Flynn first takes the children and workers to hide in the purple room on the first floor. Then the workers hide in the break room. He then holds them temporarily in the third floor cafeteria, even letting them play with crowns. At some point, the children are either escaped or taken by something else. Many workers flee the outer sector, scattering throughout the facility. One worker barricaded themselves in the entrance of the community center and suffer constant attacks from NatMap, causing them to lose their sanity, writing on a piece of paper, "The spider is real," over and over again. They're banging their heads on the walls, floors, and tables. They eventually kill themselves in the process. Many workers were cornered by fighting off Captain Fiddles and his crew. They initially fight off. They were killed, and they leave all dead, except for the the Cyan Fiddles one, I think. And this is where Garten of Banban story was born. My name is Marquez Artist Boy. And if you hear this message, tell the euphoric brothers that I have heard the message. Thank you, good night, and goodbye. and I'll see you later.